It's hard to find a veteran that doesn't personally know another veteran that has died by suicide. And the VA and other organizations have tried for years to try to tackle this problem. But what I've seen in recent years is my fellow veterans stepping up and speaking out about veteran suicide. My social media is flooded with veterans that I served with doing the 22 push-ups a day challenge to help promote awareness of veteran suicide. And there's even a guy out there who's doing 2,022 push-ups a day to help promote awareness of veteran suicide, which is crazy and kind of awesome. I'm in a unique position where I serve on the front lines of military and veteran suicide prevention. Part of my job, more days out of the week than not, is to look somebody in the eye and ask them if they're having thoughts of wanting to kill themselves. If you're currently having suicidal ideation to the point that you don't feel safe, stop watching this video, pick up the phone, and you call 911 or the Veterans Crisis Line. Because if you're not here, then the rest of this video is not going to be that important. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use a common tool to help with suicidal ideation, and that's a safety plan. And whether you're doing this safety plan by yourself, with a friend, with a family member, or with your clinician, I'm going to walk you through it. Before I get started, let me say this. When you're doing a safety plan, you have to be honest. Because if you're not honest with your triggers, if you're not honest with the things that you're willing to do, the numbers that you put down, then this safety plan isn't going to be worth the paper that it's written on. Suicidal ideation is different for everybody. For some people, it kind of ebbs and flows. So on some days or some moments, it's stronger than others. For some people, it's just kind of a steady stream of thoughts of wanting to kill themselves. The reason this is important is because most of the time, when those suicidal thoughts come up, they just don't pop out of nowhere. Sometimes they do, but most times there are precursors or things that we can be looking out for, warning signs that we can pick up on, that we notice before people start having those types of thoughts. This is the first thing that needs to go into your suicide safety plan. You need to figure out what are some of those warning signs? What are some of those triggers or thoughts that start to come before you have thoughts of wanting to kill yourself? Maybe you're starting to feel more stressed, or you notice that you're starting to feel fatigued, or you're starting to feel more irritable. These might be things to look out for so you can plan prior to having some of those thoughts. Take a moment and think about what are some of your warning signs, or discuss what some of your warning signs might be with a friend or with your clinician. The next step is brainstorming some internal strategies. Another way to say that is, what can you do without having to contact somebody else? What can you do to start combating some of these thoughts or some of these triggers before you need to involve somebody else? Take a moment and think about or discuss what some of those things can be. Some examples might be, you can watch some of your favorite TV shows. I enjoy basically anything Disney. Something else might be taking a walk, playing some music, doing some deep breathing. Any of these type of things can be helpful. But I do want to give you a tip here. What I want you to put down are things that you know work for you and that you're willing to do. Because if they don't work for you, do not put them on your safety plan. If you're not willing to do them, do not put them on your safety plan. And if you're doing this with somebody else and you're listening to this video, Ask them if they're willing to do those things. Ask them if they've done those things before and they work for them. Because you can have a great coping skill on your safety plan, such as deep breathing. But if you've never done deep breathing before, the idea that you're going to do that when you're maybe in the darkest part of your life, probably not, very effective. Things that you're willing to do, things that work for you. That's what needs to go on this list. The next step is I want you to create a list of people and places that may serve as a distraction for you. Now, note my language. People and places that may serve as a distraction. Not necessarily support, but distraction. That means, maybe I can go to the park. Maybe I can go to the beach. Maybe I can go to, the lounge or somewhere that you feel comfortable, that there'll be a lot of people around perhaps. A place where you can get your mind off of what's going on. Take a moment. Think about what places serve as distractions for you. What places clear your mind? For me, I like going to the beach. I like getting in the water. I'm a pretty good swimmer, believe it or not. I like just swimming past the surf. Just being out there by myself. It's quiet. Just me and Mother Nature. And maybe a shark or two. Take a moment and think about some of these people or places. I'll wait. Or you can pause the video. The next step is creating a list of people who you can contact if you're starting to have some of these thoughts of wanting to kill yourself. A couple tips for this list. The first tip is I encourage you to tell the people that are on your list that you are including them in your safety plan. You know why that's important? Because you want somebody who's going to pick up the phone when you call or text them. I got a veteran buddy right now that I know I can pick up the phone and he'll pick it right up. I got another veteran buddy that I'll call or text and I'll hear from him in about a week or two. That second buddy may not be the one that you want to include on this list, even though he might be a close friend, unless you're going to tell him. If you don't tell that buddy that when you call, it could be an emergency, then they might decide to wait a week or two to get back to you, like my buddy does. Put the people on this list that you trust and that you know will be there to support you. And this is your list. So if you're doing this with somebody else watching you do it right now, I'm going to ask the friend, the spouse, the clinician, whoever you are, don't get your feelings hurt just because whoever list this is, whoever safety plan this is, doesn't want to add you. It may be helpful to include all these people's phone numbers on your list. Now I recognize that most people don't know people's phone numbers. I barely know my own phone number. The only phone number I know are really mine and my mom's. So I recognize that this might not be totally helpful. But if you think that you'll ever be in a situation where you don't have your cell phone, go ahead and write it down. Next, I want you to put your clinician or the clinicians in which you feel comfortable reaching out to. The Veterans Crisis Line number, the local urgent cares number. Those type of professional numbers are great backups, or for some people, they're primary numbers that they call when they start to have thoughts of suicide. The last step in a suicide safety plan is to create a list of things that you can do to help keep your environment safe. If you have guns, think about getting one of these gun locks, which you can get pretty much anywhere, and you probably get them at any VA in this country. Think about locking up your guns. Think about giving you the key to somebody else. Think about giving your guns to one of your buddies. Hold on to. Think about reducing the amount of sharp objects that are in your house. These type of things. Consider asking a friend to check in on you. These type of things where you can actually help keep your environment safe. You have a lot of medications. Maybe you can limit your medications. And when I say limit your medications, I don't mean not take your medications. What I mean is limit the amount of medications that you have in your house. Maybe you lock up your medications. Maybe you let your spouse control your medications for a while. These type of things are put in place to help you stay safe. It's not trying to take anything away from you. What it's aimed to do is give you some time to think about whether or not you actually want to kill yourself. This thing right here can get taken off. However, the hope always is in the time that it takes you to find the key, in the time that it takes you to take that gun lock off, maybe you'll rethink what you're doing. Maybe you won't decide to take your life. Something to think about. If this video was helpful for you, please like it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more about PTSD and military culture. But always, more important than that, if this video was helpful for you, that means it can be helpful for another veteran or another friend of a veteran. So I ask that you share it with them. Because at the end of the day, that's what really all this is about. One veteran trying to help another.